Hello, Urban Law family. It's another Friday, another edition of the Urban Law Show. I am back in the saddle. Got my sidekick and my main man. What's up, Charles?
What's going on, Leslie?
Hey, man, you know what? This is a very special month, number one, and it's a very special holiday that's coming up. So it's only fitting that we do the episode today as a tribute to probably some of the most influential individuals in all of our lives and throughout history. So let me let you open it up today and kind of set us up for what I think is going to be an amazing day.
Well, hello to everybody who's watching. It is Friday. It's the Friday before Mother's Day, and we want to give a shout out to all the mothers out there from Urban Law. And in particular, I think Leslie and I wanted to take the time to just pause and not talk Corona, not talk business, not talk law, but kind of talk about how we ended up here on a 47-year journey for me, 55-year journey for Leslie.
Whoa. Wait a minute.
Well, I'm just saying, his birthday is already passed. It was pre-Corona in February, so he's 48.
He's gonna put it all out there, huh?
Yeah, hey, we're gonna have some fun today. I don't know if my birthday will be during Corona or post-Corona. I don't know. It's in August, but that's not the point of the show. The point of the show is to say Happy Mother's Day and then to talk about how we end up here and the role that our parents and particularly our mothers and other mothers in the community, the role that they played in shaping and forming us. So you giving me a chance to kick it off. I thought I would start with one of my all-time favorite stories about Leslie Peters and an influential mother in the community. So Leslie and I have been friends for a very long time. So there are numerous stories that I could tell. But there was this one time in the 4th grade that I advised Leslie. I was giving out good advice even back then.
At least you thought you were.
No. If you would have listened to me, Sweet Pete would not have ended up at the school.
That story.
Okay. Yeah. So Leslie decides to challenge Miss Margie James. So, she holds a special place in our heart. Not only was she our 4th grade teacher, she was one of my mother's closest friends, and I grew up at her house. And, Kenya is her daughter. She was a part of the New Zion United Methodist Church family. So the roots run very deep. But on this particular day, Leslie decided he was a superhero. And he wanted to challenge Miss James. And he jumped out of his skin. And he just, I think you called her a lie and everything else. You just...
Well, now, I mean...
I know, hold on, this is my version of events. So I leaned over and I said, Leslie. And for people who know, they know I didn't say Leslie. They know I said, nah, what you doing? Don't do this. No, she can call my daddy. And anybody from Columbia, Mississippi knows that Leslie Peters, Coach Peters, is the unofficial mayor of Marion County. You can't even have a mayor of a county, but he is the mayor. He raised everybody. He coached everybody. He provides counsel to all of us. And all of us know that if you get in trouble, he is not the person that you want to call at that very moment, especially if you are his son. Mm-hmm. And so Leslie decided to challenge Miss James and said, you can call my daddy. And so she did. Pre-cell phone era. She made a walk all the way up to the office, to Miss Sally B. Pittman's office, and used the phone, and she called Coach Leslie Peters. And he came down to the school in the nacho cheese mobile. You could hear it coming. and he came with a belt in hand. And if you guys could have seen Leslie Peters, oh, now we're talking about young Leslie, not Coach Peters, but when Coach Peters rolled in, young Leslie was a shrinking violet. I'm sorry, Daddy, I don't want it. I don't want it.
I remember a different version of the story.
I'm sure you do. But buddy, can I just tell you, we made it. We are here. But I was afraid for you that day in the 4th grade. I was really afraid. Lots of prayer, but she called your bluff.
You know, that goes to tell you, never challenge an old school teacher for sure. I didn't think she was actually going to go call him. And I definitely didn't think he was going to come because it was right before football practice. So I was like, well, he's not going to come.
Well, you rolled the dice and you lost on that one. That's all.
I did lose on that one. I did. But in thinking about, since you want to go there, before we finish this call, boy, do I have some stories about you.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Bring it on.
But to all the audience, we want to hear about your stories. And of course, today, the whole concept is lessons from Momma. We all have them. We all got that wonderful advice. And so what Charles is referring to is that what he didn't tell you, my mom would always tell me, don't ever put your dad in a position where they call him to come to that school. That's not going to fare well for you, son.
That's right.
And I ignored that advice on that one particular occasion. Only happened once. Never had it happen. Well, no, it did happen again 3 years later. That's a whole different story. Part of the class. And Mr. Lewis knows what I'm talking about. So, yeah. But, I guess I was a little hard-headed back then.
Nah, well, look, she put you to the test. And what I got from that was phones reach. So, one of the things I was thinking about when we were talking about the show topic, we used to meet up at that oak tree. And we talk about the oak tree in our video.
Yeah.
We used to ride bikes. Our social media and social interactions were in person.
Right.
It meant truly to be social. So we interacted with a whole cast of characters under that tree. But I think Miss Dorothy and Mary, your mother and my mother had one rule: do not let that street light catch you.
That's right.
So we learned speed and accuracy and shortcuts and everything else because that tree was a long way from home for both of us.
Yep.
And we used to try to stay for the longest, but when you heard that crackling,
you knew when that crackling of that light coming. For those of you, you're from the country if you heard the crackling of the lights.
That's right.
Before they would come on, there wasn't no LED lights back then. It had to crackle and warm up. So that gave you at least 2 to 3 minutes.
That's right. And 2 to 3 minutes go a long way when you socialize. But that was usually the end of our conversation, and everybody was scrambling in different directions.
I think about this in a particular time that we face today, where many of us are forced to, we're working from home. We're trying to take care of the kids. We're trying to make sure they do their work. We're trying to deal with all that comes with being locked up in quarantine and close quarters for a period of time, the emotions, all of that. And I just think about our moms handled that with such grace. They were doing this for a long time, and they just did it so efficiently. And I don't know how they did it, because I know I wasn't the easiest. And so I know my mom was so happy when I got to an age where I could go with my dad and play ball. I know she was happy.
Well, I mean, that goes for both of us. I mean, I grew up at your house, you grew up at my house, and the lessons that they gave us: make sure you get your grades, make sure you do your chores, make sure you're respectful at all times, because I could very well get a spanking at your house from your mom.
Oh, yeah.
And vice versa. and then get it again, and then get it
Absolutely.
again once you get home. You know how it was.
Absolutely. I think too, the other thing that's very important that as we think about this, for our audience too, please jump in the comments, put a comment in that you want to share your story, put your story in there, and I'll pop it up on the screen. But Ebony, I know you got some stories because you don't want us to start telling your stories, so you might want to pop in there. But I love to hear about them as we think about this special time of year to these special women in our lives that quite honestly, none of us would be here without them. So definitely want to share those stories in tribute to them and what we learn from those special ladies in our life. I think as Charles and I continue to just kind of reminisce and walk down the street of some of those things. And what was interesting for you and I, Charles, as we came up in our time, there was, even though we didn't live in the same house, we practically lived in the same house. And what I mean by that, there were things that your mom was gonna do for me that she wouldn't do for you, and that was the thing my mom was gonna do for you that she wouldn't do for me. So I used to be like, every time we cook spaghetti, it's like, all right,
I was about to say that because I had the privilege of being one of the few people who always get meatballs at your house.
Right. Nobody else got meatball. Only him.
Yeah. Well, I mean that goes even further because I think to this day Antonio sneaks to my mother's house and gets banana pudding.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know he's watching, and he don't want to chime in, but I know he's watching out there. I got to put this comment up from your sister, Charles.
Okay.
She's trying to be slick here. Check this one out.
Oh, so she's not a part of the segment. That can be handled. I mean, I got stories on everybody. I keep stories. I'm a storyteller. I'm an old country lawyer. That's what I do is tell stories. But
now, do we want to get into the story? Let me just dip into. So here was you, because I would always have to bail you out. It's ironic that you ended up being a lawyer because I was forever having to bail you out.
That's true. That's
in our childhood. So here was the thing. So his mother would call me, and it would be this. So she's like, "I ain't gonna ask no question because I don't want you to lie. I just need you to find him. You need to be home with." He need to be home in an hour.
Yeah.
So, but speaking of that, I think about the time. Remember, it was our freshman year of college. So
Okay.
you know where I'm going with this story. We come home for a weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as we come home for a weekend, it was me and you, and we brought a friend home that we met in college.
Who shall remain nameless.
And
don't go into that story because I got to work Monday. Yeah, I got to work Monday. I don't need those calls.
I'm just saying, all I'm going to say about that story is I was the one. Let's just say I was the one that didn't get in trouble. Because they were
always.
Hey, don't you want to do something? I said, absolutely not. I'm going to the house. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Yeah, you always bailed on us. So let's do this because we've already mentioned Miss Dorothy, who is your mother, Mary, who is my mother. Who else? Let's see. Oh, we mentioned Miss Margie, Miss Jeanette, Antonio's mother.
But before and I'm going to pull up some audience things, but as a tribute, here's what I want to say. And as we got stories coming in, the fact of the matter is, as a tribute, the biggest thing we can say for all the mothers in my life, because there were a bunch, the biggest thing we can say is thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all the no's. Thank you for the not right nows. Thank you for the yeses. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the kick in the butt. Thank you for it all, because it took all of that to get us to where we are today. And we couldn't see it back then, but we definitely see it now. And I just hope that as we continue, I just hope we continue to do the right thing by using those lessons you taught us to continue to evolve as great individuals. So that's certainly my tribute to mothers, and let's see what our audience has to say about some of their tributes. So here's a story. Here, Charles, I'll let you take this one from Willie Mae. Dennis.
Hey, Willie Mae, the lesson I learned from my mother is always be respectful, never talk back. Well, this particular day I experienced racism, and not only did I talk back, I threw up my fist. Oh, Willie Mae is a fighter. I knew what mother said, but that didn't go well with the situation at the moment. Long story short, I got the worst whipping of my life because I reacted to what was said instead of listening to sound advice. Therefore, I learned that listening is a skill. Yes, particularly active listening. So, in my yard growing up off Rankin Road, there used to be a switch tree. And my mother would tell, so my mother had she has a whole bunch of amazing skills, but two of the early skills that I learned is that one, she knows how to throw boomerangs. Obviously, she went to Australia as a kid. I don't know, but she could boomerang a shoe. She could throw a shoe from the living room. It would go to the left, curve right, and go down the hallway to my bedroom inside the door and hit me upside the head. My sister can probably attest to this, although she got different treatment because she was the baby. But
let's not even start talking about those babies.
That's right, because Gladys got different treatment too.
She did.
But the second skill she had was she was a haze master, because she would tell you you're gonna get in trouble, and she would give you your grace. She'd give you your grace, but of course, we were gonna push it. But there was a tree in the yard that made great switches. And so when you got in trouble, she would say, go get the switch. Now don't get one that's too small, or I'll have to get it. Don't get one that's too big because it's gonna hurt. So there you are trying to pick out which switch you're gonna get the finger with. The punishment was just because we, you know how we were. We stayed into something. It was always something going on. But I agree with Willie Mae. Listening is a skill, because had we listened well enough and taken heed to those grace periods, we probably would have got less spankings. But, Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. We were definitely not spoiled. And we came out all right. So you reminded me of that, Willie Mae, when you said the worst spanking of your life.
Your sister seems to be having amnesia. She's saying, "Stop it! You're still her mother's favorite child." No, don't even try that. Don't even try that. Don't. Just don't.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty good, But,
I think about, and I know that Dorothy is not watching us because she's about as far away from the internet as can be. But
if I know your mother well, which I do, the internet is not plugged up right now.
Right, not at all.
Yeah, so, she didn't want them listening into her house, and she's got it unplugged. It only gets plugged up when one of us goes home.
That's it. But she'll hear about it. She'll know about everything.
She'll know what's going on. She'll know before the show is over.
Yep. And so, speaking of those babies, because I know that's where it's going to come from. But I think about high school as another tribute to my mom. I want to really thank her for this, and this is for both of us because she made us learn how to type.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
And she was adamant about that. I mean, I was like, I remember us doing sketch. No, you're gonna take this keyboard in class. You're gonna take this, and she made us type. Everybody who wanna call me, I'm on the show. What you doing?
Well, while you thinking about that, so I give a shout out to Miss Kagans as well, Dolores Kagan. She was my homeroom teacher for 3 years. Matter of fact, I shed tears and went on strike. That was my first point of activism. When they changed my homeroom teacher for my senior year, Mom's Kagan. So if anybody's listening that knows Miss Kagan, she has left us, but she's always in our hearts. But she taught us how to type. She taught us how to conduct ourselves at Columbia High School. And one of our good friends who was listening, Antonio, decided he wasn't going to do his typing because he was a star football player and he didn't need to know how to type. You remember that?
I do.
And so she made a couple choice stops on her route, and Joy Porter and Coach Freely decided typing was more important than being a star fullback. And so the hitman had to go not only do typing exercises in the afternoon after school, but then he got punished when he got back to practice for missing practice.
Sure did, running those wind sprints.
So he can type probably better than everybody. So, I mean, we had some amazing ladies who were in our lives and still in our lives,
Absolutely. And guys, throw in your join us in this tribute. Give a shout out to your mom and the special ladies in your life. We'll love to bring it on the screen and celebrate them with you. Look, the reality is this: there's not a day that goes by that's not something that my mom's taught me that I'm using. And I can remember, this story. My mom would call, and when first of all, I remember the whole plan of action we had to convince our parents to let us get an apartment and move off campus. You remember that?
A very elaborate plan.
So a very elaborate plan, and then they had to come check it out. And the dads were against it. They were like, they don't need to do that. But we appealed to the moms, and so they came and checked it out. And we didn't get our first place that we thought we wanted, and we ended up getting a better place. But when I tell you, when we left and we went for school, we knew how to clean, we knew how to cook, we knew how to do all of those things that they made us do. It wasn't optional. I mean, they made you do it. And so when we got to college, because we could type, because we could do those things, we were able to make money typing people papers. I mean, and so it was just all those things that just helped us. So we were able to make money doing something we could do right quick. And we didn't even have to go get those part-time jobs. So we was just so resourceful. I mean, it wasn't nothing we had to learn or have high pressure about. And so those are things that I still impart in my daughter today, is that there's some things you just got to know how to do. And if you don't know how to cook the three things, you're going to know how to do them very well. But then you're going to know how to take those three things and turn it into 9, and turn the 9 into 18, and turn the 18 into 36. You're gonna know how to do that. And so I appreciate that so much, because even in the quarantine, there are times, look, we just don't want to go out and deal with the grocery store madness. And when you want to talk about the fun of going into the pantry lounge, here, what we got? Let's see what we can come up with. That's been some of the best dishes.
No doubt. But you learn how to cook on Rankin Road because your mom, just like my mama, hey, and you remember we rode the bus after school. And so a lot of kids today don't really know about that, but we had keys to the house at 7 or 8 years old. And one of the things you had to do was make sure your chores were done, make sure your homework was done, and fix you something to eat. And so quarantine is nothing, because we've been doing this for a long time.
Long time. And you couldn't have no company. And I'm telling you, like, if you would try it, they knew about it. Like, you couldn't. I don't know how they did that back then. They didn't have social media. They didn't have anything, but they had a network.
No, but they could work that phone line. Anything from my road, well, actually from Uncle John, all the way down to your place.
Yeah,
they had a whole network. And the thing about that was, you never did see them on the phone. Never did. They knew everything was going on, like they were doing hand signals, like a baseball game.
Willie Mae said this. Oh, Willie Mae, this hurts. She said mother would wrap 2 switches together.
Oh, no doubt. That was one of those things. If you got the small switch, if you were crazy enough to go out there and get that small switch, she would just go get one that matched that same size and braid it together.
Yeah, it was not fun. Not fun.
No.
I think about some of what I would tell all of us, all of you that still have your moms and they're here with you, learn everything you can. Have those conversations now to learn all the things, ask all the questions you want to know. I've been learning that lesson from my wife because now, obviously, she's stressed the importance of me to be a better son and communicating, which is important. But learn, learn. They have so much knowledge. They've forgotten more things than we know. So continue to learn. Again, paying tribute to the moms and the amazing women in our lives that taught us so much and so many lessons. So I love to hear of some of those lessons that your mom taught you. So put it in the comments so we can share it and celebrate your mom. We'd love to do that with you. So as you know, as Charles, don't let Charles and I be the only one rambling because I know we're not the only ones that's proud of our moms. So join us in the celebration. Hit us in the comments, and I'll be happy to get that posted on the screen so we can celebrate your mom with you.
No doubt. One of the biggest things, one of the things that has carried me in 20 years of practice is the ease at which reading comprehension comes to me.
Mm.
And that didn't start today or yesterday. That started way back at the summer reading program when my mother insisted that I do 100 books a summer. And she had creative control over which books I read. So I would try to pick some small books to begin with, and she would be like, "Nope, that's a little bit too easy." And that parlayed for me into a job at the library, all kinds of things. I mean, it opened gateways to me. I felt like even though we didn't have a whole bunch of money, but I felt like I traveled around the world more than anybody else because I read so much. I was always in some exotic location, whether it was a Hardy Boys mystery or Black history or sports.
Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
All that.
So my love of reading can be drawn directly to her. She was on the phone with my son just the other day. How many books have you read? I need to know how many books have you read? And so, I'm very appreciative of that because that's one of the things that I use on a daily, not just for work, but pleasure as well. And it comes second nature now.
Well, not only did you have to read the book, but as Evan said, you had to do that book report.
Oh yeah, I mean,
so writing was fundamental too, and so it wasn't enough just to read the book. No, that's just part of it. Then you had to break down that book report, and you had to be able to explain that. My mom would say, "You got to explain that book to me in a way that I felt like I read it."
That's right, and I feel like that's one of the advantages I have is that my thought process, my writing process are different because I've been writing for so long. And I know you've been on me about writing a book. That's a horse and a story for a different day. But I think that's one of the advantages I have that can be drawn back to those early lessons for reading. And you remember that time Antonio decided he was going to read the whole library at the high school?
And did read the whole library. How about that?
He did. He did. And
he awfully quiet today, but I'm going to switch gears and talk about Miss Jeanette, which is his mom. And she had a word for us that she called us the affectionate way that only she could. But man, when I tell you just the lessons that you get along the way and the love and how and the biggest thing she always say, you start tight, you finish tight.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
And with us in our network for all these years, Tony has always been the glue that keeps us together. Think about it, we've been in different cities. In fact, we hadn't all lived or resided in the same city since college.
1994 was the last time that happened.
Yeah. and we're just as close as we ever were. And so I think, and so that that she put in him to keep that bond, he got from his mom, and it's kept us through good and bad, ups and downs. So he can't chime in, but I'm going to chime in as a tribute to her. Just special, so special.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
That she's taught us.
I'll tell you a quick story about Penn. So I call her Penn because we were tight. Biscuits. She used to always make me biscuits because I'm a big boy and I like
homemade biscuits.
That's right. And then she got Antonio and I some executive jobs for the college board.
Oh boy.
And so Antonio and I went to the warehouse in our good shirt and tie, ready to report to our executive jobs because we were good college boys. And we showed up and the man said, yeah, y'all take the ties off and get that clipboard and follow me. So we we ended up unloading trucks at the warehouse for the summer. And then we both ended up bailing back to Jackson, I believe, because
yeah. And where did y'all come when y'all bailed back to Jackson?
I slept on the floor in your dorm room. I'm not even ashamed to say that. But what that taught me was, one, you're gonna finish college. Two, hard work will get you everything that you desire. You just got to figure out where you want to work hard at.
See, I told you I've been bailing out for a long time. Notice I didn't go get the executive job. I like, y'all go ahead.
Yeah.
Like, nah, we're gonna take the summer off. I said, I'm gonna go to school. Nah, I'm not.
Well, we ended up back at 1400 Lynch Street. That's home base.
I know we're kind of getting to the end of our program. We got about 5 more minutes here, but I again, just celebrating moms. We got one more member of the core group of ours that we can't go without, and now, but long before he was a doctor, he was just
Sean. You talking about Sean?
I'm talking about Sean.
Sean.
He was just Sean from Deep Woods.
From Hub
City.
Yeah.
So, but man, the tribute there. And if you know Miss Abram, and I always laugh because Miss Abram, my dad, I'm like, what? That was hilarious just to watch that dynamic. But then one day I remember I decided, well, I'm gonna say something. And they were in the midst of going back and forth. And the moment I said something, they both turned to me and said, shut up.
Yeah.
I knew my place. But when you talk about another one that if you leave Ms. Abram's house hungry, you didn't go to Ms. Abram's house.
No.
I don't know where you went, but you didn't go there. Now he gonna claim he's not watching, but I know he's watching. But much love to Miss Abram, and man, just we've been really blessed to have some great people in our lives.
All right. But yeah, so in that vein, I would like to mention Big Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Mary McNeil, who's no longer with us, she was a mother to us. She used to always, especially when we got the apartment, she would come stay with us in the summertime and feed us. It's some funny stories that we could tell about that, but I won't. I won't go into it. But yeah, she always looked after us. I used to catch the train, so I, go with Big Money. You did it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I still hold a record in their household for
the most slices of Beggar's Pizza.
Yeah, the most slices of Beggar's Pizza. She was like, Baron, I've never seen nobody eat that many slices of pizza.
Yeah, I don't know how you did that, and that's some big pizza, man.
Yeah, big dish. Yeah,
but
Blue Island's finest.
Yeah. No, I mean, guys, we're just reminiscing and going down the lane. But what we're really trying to encourage you to understand is when they say that saying that says ain't nobody happy if mama not happy, that's true. That's real.
Oh, yeah.
If mama not happy, ain't nobody in the house happy. If mama happy, everybody cool. And so that's the power, that's the influence, but that's also the grace in which they operate. And so I think it's so important that you pay tribute to all the mother influences, all the lessons, and remember the lessons and use the lessons that we've gotten. Um, we got another one from Willamette. She says, "My mother is no longer with me physically, but 95% of what she taught resonates today. My shout out to mothers is always to always be the best example you can be spiritually, financially, and mentally to your children. A mother is to be honored. Yes, indeed."
Oh yeah, couldn't say it any better. Couldn't say it any better. So, I feel like, you grew up going to church in the city, John the Baptist. I
That's
grew
right.
up, I grew up at New Zion United
No,
Methodist.
no, you got to say it right. John the Baptist Missionary Baptist Church.
Okay, well that's for you to say. That's kind of like the Cubs playing against Lampton, and y'all having y'all fancy uniform, and you got thrown out by a little bitty boy.
That's not even. I think that's
Um,
look. That's the only pass you ever. That's the only baseball catch you made tag out, and I think it was suspect.
it wasn't suspect. He guns you down. That's all. He hits you. He hits you. You hit one deep. Probably if there was a fence back there, would have been a home run, but it wasn't. So we got you out, and that was the end of my baseball career, I believe. I just want to get one up on you, so you never get that one back. But all the ladies in New Zion United Methodist Church had a hand in shaping me, molding me. I'm pretty sure it's at least one person from New Zion on here. So happy Mother's Day to all those mothers from the church. Those were our formative years, and those are the lessons that they taught us in Vacation Bible School and Sunday school, and even giving us that evil eye when we were talking in church.
Yeah.
All of those things shaped us to get us to where we are today. And so thank you.
And then certainly for me, I definitely got to get a shout out to my mother-in-law, who's no longer with us, but for all that she's done for me. And just in fact, I never called her my mother-in-law. I called her my mom, because that's just the kind of relationship we have. So definitely want to do that. And and all the mothers in my life, same thing. I mean, if you grew up in the era we did in Columbia, Mississippi, you were raised by a village. It's just is what it was. And the reality is there was no one person, and they had a network, and they operated that way. And there's a lot to be learned from the way they moved and the way they did things. And so I think we can get better at doing that today if we continue to work together and not apart. And I think that was one of the lessons that they didn't only tell us that, but they showed us that and how they lived and how they worked together. So literally, if you got in trouble at somebody else's house, it wasn't no questions about, well, they don't have no. They called and told them that they whipped you and that you was on your way home, and then you got it again when you got home.
That's right. That's right. No questions asked.
No questions asked.
Yeah.
So I think, that's important. So do something. I know we've been in quarantine. A lot of you might have forgotten what's coming up this weekend and what to do, but do something now to make sure you honor. Don't let Corona take that special honor away from our mothers. Let's make sure we do something to wrap our arms, wrap our love around them. And if your mother is not with you physically, then make sure you utilize those lessons that she gave you to do something and leverage that impact that she gave you and celebrate in honor of her. That's important. That's my challenge. That's my call to action for us all, is to make sure that we're doing something that our mother will look at and say, I'm proud of that kid.
When you say that, Liz, I think about Tupac. There's no way I can pay you back, but my plan is to show you that I understand and that you are appreciated.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can say it any better than that.
Well,
Really, I don't. I think that's the nature of what we're talking about. It's Mother's Day. It's a difficult time of year, but it shouldn't be. Mother's Day shouldn't be forgotten. So that's why we wanted to make sure that we pay tribute to today and urge you to do the same
that's
because
right.
it is Mother's Day and it's time for mothers.
That's right.
All right. Anything else to wrap us up, Charles?
No, just happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. We are still open for business, and we are still taking calls and doing good work. 601-340-6800. Happy Mother's Day. And we will see you next Friday, same time.
All right, everyone. Be safe. Be blessed. See you next week.